want to have this conversation with you just to sort of, get your thoughts and opinions on, what could be improved and what sort of advice you'd have for, not just women in tech, but, women, people from minority backgrounds, sort of getting involved in the industry and just sort of your experiences on that. So let's go through a couple of questions and just going through that. So the first question for yourself, Joana, is can you tell us about your journey into the tech industry and what initially inspired you to pursue a career in data and engineering?
I don't think I have a very structured answer to that. I come from a family of power women. Like my grandmother is a career woman. Well, she's retired now, but so is my aunt. And so I always knew that I was going to pursue a career and do that too. Like it wasn't about, can I do it? It was more about, yeah, for sure, I'll do it. And I think tech is just where it kind of ended up. I've always really enjoyed efficiency and making things work. And somehow it was this, well, when I was studying this hot new area, software engineering, and I just kind of drifted there because it was cool things that I wanted to do. I started out as an electrical engineer, and then I did a PhD in computer science, and that was then AI, and I just went with the flow.
Yeah. No, obviously, yes. Also, I appreciate it. It always helps when you have like a background of people to like look up to and sort of push you into the field as well. And yeah, it's obviously worked out for you quite well so far, hasn't it? So it's always nice when that happens as well. Okay, that's good to hear. And what would you say, like, obviously, since you've only been in the industry for quite a while now, but some of the biggest challenges you've faced as a woman in tech and how you've overcome them?
So I think the biggest challenge I've come across is what I like to call the for a woman effect. And I think this is happening less and less, or maybe I'm just getting scarier and scarier and people don't say it anymore. But you often get comments like this from your friends or your teachers, professors, supervisors, colleagues. It's like, oh, you can code like a man. Oh, you can drive like a man. Oh, you can give a presentation like a man. Oh, you can, drive an argument like a man. And it's like suddenly you're not in the woman's club, you're now in the men's club. And once you get there, I don't think you experience that much discrimination anymore. But going through that threshold is it's kind of like you always have to prove yourself first. Um, and it would be nice to just be in the people's club, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, of course. It's more like obviously like people are almost like surprised you can do things, and
Yeah.
the fact they say like a man or like oh I didn't think you could do this. It's sort of like you're already going into the industry a little bit behind the eight ball because I don't know. Obviously, it's not like a true comment, but like obviously a lot of people do say oh like a man or like you're a woman like doing tech like you must be really good that sort of thing rather than coming under one bracket if I'm right in saying that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is something like that, and it can be challenging. And of course, I think it's best to be nice about it. I think it's always better to talk about your preconceived ideas because then you have a chance to, show people different or talk them through it. So I think it's a good thing it comes out, but at the same time, yeah, I would like that to disappear. So not that it stops being said, but that it stops existing.
Yeah, no, of course, 100% agree. Um, and then furthermore, then, so what would you say has been like, your proudest achievement in your career so far, and what impact do you believe it's had on your team or on the industry?
Um, I don't have anything very special, or rather, I feel that it's quite standard. I think my proudest achievement was graduating as an engineer, somehow having that stamp of approval of like, okay, you can actually do this. Because before starting university, I thought I could do it. And then I started university and I realized, ooh, this is tougher than I thought it was going to be on many levels, right? So it's not
Mm,
just the academic level, it's, yeah, on many levels. And yeah, just having that validation is a really good thing. Then
Yeah,
more recently, I think when I became a people manager, that was also again something that for me was very proud moment because it's basically um, having this yeah this external validation of like we like your work, we want you to coach other people, and it's just yeah a very nice feeling.
yeah. No, of course. I think it's always nice to know that when like your employer trusts you to not obviously like be in complete control, but to actually have like a big responsibility in molding people's careers. And it's obviously like a really nice like honor slash responsibility to have. And so not everyone likes people managing, but I can imagine you enjoy it yourself and like that side of the thing.
And it's also on the job in the job that I have now is actually quite different because we work a lot in projects, and in projects it's normal and expected that you lead a team of whatever it is going to be, software developers, testers, I don't know.
Mm,
But then being a person manager really on the level of people's careers, their salaries, their um, maternity, paternity leave, this kind of thing, then that
yeah.
feels like a different responsibility. And that's the one that I feel proud of.
Yeah, that's good. It's good. It's always nice, isn't it? When people ask you to book a holiday, you feel a bit powerful, don't you? It feels good.
I could say no, I never
Yeah.
would, but
Nah, I'm sure you wouldn't. Okay, nice, nice. That's good to hear that. So for obviously, like, it would be good for you to answer this as well. Like, obviously, are you able to share any advice for young women who are, considering a career in tech or currently working their way up in the industry? Like, is there any sort of advice you would share with them, or yeah, to people who could be watching this and listening to this?
I think the best advice that I can give is um, to be yourself and share your time with work. This is kind of like a quote. It's really like a quote for relationships. It's like, be yourself and share your time with me, but now for work. I think when I first started in the industry, I tried to adjust myself, if that makes sense, to adjust the image that I would project so that I would stand out less or fit in more, something like this. But I really think the world is changing, and I think it should change. Diversity is a good thing, it's a great thing. So I think the best advice is really just try to be yourself and bring your whole self to work. And yeah, don't invest too much, don't invest too little.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good solid advice. I'm sure, like, obviously, I think I can imagine, like, not just women, but everyone really, when you like get into tech and data, you do want to sort of, make yourself as appealing to people as possible, and and they only sort of being someone that's not really true to yourself. So it doesn't really make sense to do that at the start, and then you're sort of doing the next sort of 4 or 5 years trying to be someone or something that you're not. So I think that's really solid, really good, solid advice. To be honest with you, I think it makes a lot of sense. Um, okay, and then the next question I have would be, um, are there any like initiatives or projects that you're currently working on that really excite you, or you know you could see them having a sort of impact in changing the future of technology?
I think Gen AI is going to be very interesting. It makes me think of the internet and the 90s, right? When we were just at the point where internet was this academic thing, and then like 5 years later, 10 years later, everyone is using it and the world is structured on it. I think with Gen AI, we are at the same place. I think in 5 or 10 years' time, everyone is going to have one Gen AI assistant, maybe multiple. It's going to change our lives a lot. And I'm really excited to see that. Yeah, I want to see where it goes.
What sort of things like do you think it could impact like Gen AI when it comes to like even like just people's day to day or in industry and data, like what sort of impact do you think that would have?
So I've been thinking about that a lot. The first thing that comes to mind is really education and health, because suddenly it's even more important for people to be able to tell the difference between something that is real and something that is fake. So I can imagine that the fact that we now have software that can just generate text like a human, generate images, films like a human, I think
Mm.
will impact our education system a lot. I don't think it has started yet, but I'm sure it will come. I think also, and for health, could have a very big impact to just help with diagnosis, not just from the perspective of the doctors, but from the perspective of the patients. And you see this already, and of course, all across the corporate world. So, whatever job you have that has to do with sitting on a computer and writing texts, this will be impacted. You'll be able to do that so much faster.
Mm. Yeah, no, that's good. Good. I think especially like the health one. Like, I think it's going to be. I think you're not really going to see the impacts and consequences of that for at least maybe like another year and a half, 2 years. Do you think that's fair to say?
Yeah, but you can already find AI diagnosis online, and they're getting better and better. So I think,
Mm.
yeah, indeed, a year and a half, 2 years, I think it will be coming.
Yeah, no, hopefully, fingers crossed. It can only be a good thing, really, if it's yeah, if it's in those sort of industries and making a positive impact. Obviously, everyone's a winner, really, isn't it? Um, And then for yourself, then, like in your personal opinion, like what do you see as the biggest sort of opportunities or challenges for women in tech over the next decade?
This has actually nothing to do with tech, but I think it's really motherhood. It is, and it remains, and it has been for a while. Motherhood, the biggest challenge.
Mm.
I
Well,
tell
sorry, go
me.
on, carry on. No, I was just gonna say, could you elaborate on that a bit more?
Of course, I think that so I have two children. And before I got pregnant the first time, I think that I always thought that pregnancy and motherhood would not really impact me as a person. So I thought it was more pregnancy, carrying a baby. This is just, yeah, you just carry the baby, but you do everything that you used to do before.
Mm.
Um, and I think this is really not the case. So I think uh, that it's really challenging because it's not something that women can ever have or anytime soon will ever be able to be on a equal standing with men. And I do think that pregnancy does impact a woman, and I think it is important to recognize that and to take the time to do it whilst at the same time not making it a difficult topic at work. Because what you often find is understanding, right? I've never come across someone that says, oh no, you should still work 60 hours a week even though you're pregnant. It's really often the opposite,
Yeah.
but it can go too far, right? Like, are you sure you don't need a bit more time because you know you're going to have a child in 5 months' time, so we don't want to overtax you with like a new project. And it's really a balance, and it's something that is very difficult to manage. At least that is what I found. And then, of course, after you give birth, I think it's great if you are not the only full-time carer of the baby. So depending on where you live, it may be that if you have a partner, that they can share some of the load. Because what I often see happening with friends is that if you are the sole caretaker, then you're just saddled with the primary care, saddled, not
Mm.
saddled, but it all comes down to you because other people just don't have the time and the opportunity to be there. And this will impact you. So I think it's still a challenge to find a good balance for that. And well, this is a challenge for men, but for men to have a right to more paternity leave.
Mm. Yeah, I know it differs quite a lot between countries. I know that also I do more focus in Germany now. Germany do offer like up to I think it's up to I think it's like 2 months now for paternity leave. I don't know if you know what the one in Belgium is for paternity leave.
Yeah, I think men get 1 month and women get three. And so that's the
Mm,
disparity that's problematic. So
yeah.
ideally, if they both got the same time off, that would make things easier for women.
Yeah, no, of course, of course. Well, I can agree. I'm a bit far away from children at the moment, but when it does come, I'm sure I'll be agreeing with you and on your side for that. But yeah, give that a few more years for myself.
Because if you were to take the same amount of time as your partner, it's really not fair that you would have to take it unpaid.
Yes, of course. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, as I said, I don't disagree with you for sure. No, that's fine. And then only a couple more now left. Obviously, appreciate being on the phone for quite a while. What would you say are the sort of common misconceptions about women in tech, and how do you think we can work to dispel them?
I have strong opinions about this one, so stop me if it goes too far.
No,
But
it's
I,
fine.
I am really against quotas of any kind and events targeted only to women, this kind of thing. So, this idea of you need to have 50% men, 50% women for diversity. I think this is a terrible idea. And
Okay.
the reason why I think that is because you don't have the same amount of men and women to choose from. Suppose that you have 100 men and you have 10 women, and you need to fill, I don't know, 10 seats. Then you're going to take half of these women, and probably if you order them by being competent, the ones at the bottom are going to be less competent than the top 5 men that you took out of 100. And
Mm,
so this just really reinforces the fact that there is an, a disparity there, and it's really not fair on the men, and it's also not fair on the women. So I think it should be more about making sure that you attract enough women to your organization, that you attract enough women to tech careers, but not that you cram them into positions to tick the diversity check.
mm. Do you think that people like
So,
companies do that just to sort of like meet to check a list, basically, to tick a box? We've got this amount of women in the company, rather than actually taking the time to maybe take a few steps back and being attractive to women and actually being appealing for women to come into the company rather than just ticking boxes. Is that right in saying that or?
yeah, it's partially that, but of course, being attractive to women is a much harder problem if you don't have enough women engineers to start with, right?
Yeah.
So it's really a hard problem to solve, but it's we were discussing this in my team the other day, and a colleague came up with this like very interesting way to express it. So he said like how things used to be, that's Coke, like for drinking, Coca-Cola,
Mm,
a normal one. And how things are now with the quotas, that is like Coke Zero. So you know that sugar is bad for you. You know that discrimination is bad for you. So now you take that away. You make your quotas. So you do all kinds of chemical black magic, and you end up with something that looks a bit the same. That you don't really know what is going to do to you, but is not great for you, right? It's
mm.
still a soda.
Yeah,
So
that is true.
it's a little bit that idea, right? So quotas they come from a good place. It's better than nothing, right? It's companies are saying, okay, we want to have more diversity, we want to have more women representation. That is a good thing. But then the reality of it is not always the best.
Yeah. No, of course, of course. No, that's a very good point. I think did you have like any sort of like suggestions then as to like what you think could be done?
I think um, the only thing to do is to be more attractive for women. I think that's the only thing. And then to hope that you get enough graduates from university, right? Because it's also a problem of sourcing these women. But yeah, I think rather than setting, because what I often see when I'm involving in interviewing processes is that the quotas are set at the end of the process, right? So we get people in, we interview them, and then it's like, okay, out of all these candidates, we're going to take half-half. Whilst I think that this should maybe be at the beginning of the process. So we're going to interview 20 men and 20 women. And this comes down to you, Kyle. So sorry, but
Yeah.
someone needs to find us 20 women to interview.
Yeah, of course. No, no, maybe that's my fault. Then maybe I should start picking up the pace a little bit. I'll take some responsibility for that. But I helped you, so that's the main thing. I helped you. That's the most important one, isn't it? Really.
Yeah.
But no, it's a very good point. I think that's actually very fair. I think obviously onto a bit more of the sort of not as technical topics, but obviously we are trying to make like a women rock playlist. So basically, just songs. I don't know if you've got any favorite songs that you want to put onto the playlist. Share your taste in music with people. So I'm looking forward to hearing this answer actually. So favorite song at the
So,
moment?
Be My Own Boyfriend. It's by Olivia Dean.
Okay.
I
But
thought it'd be a good fit for this topic.
Olivia Dean, did you say?
Yeah, Olivia Dean.
Okay.
Be
I have
My
to give it.
Own
I
Boyfriend.
have to give it. I have to give it a go. Do you think I'd like it, or
I don't know. You
we'll
have to
see?
tell me.
Yeah, I'll listen to it after the call, and I'll give you the feedback. And then last of all, like, is there any like books you recommend that would be sort of relevant to this topic?
I have a book that is not relevant to the topic, but that I love. So
Okay, that's
I
good
picked
enough.
that one. It's called Stumbling on Happiness. It's by Daniel Gilbert, and it's very funny.
Daniel Gilbert.
Yes,
Is it stumbling on happiness?
on happiness, yes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Okay. That's fine. All right. Well, Dre, that actually rounds up all the questions. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you again. I know it's been some while since we last spoke, but it's really good to speak to yourself. I do really appreciate you taking the time to have this conversation and have this discussion about something that's quite an important topic at the moment, in not just now, but in life in general. It's really important to discuss these sort of things. So I do appreciate your time and your contribution towards it, and and obviously it's much appreciated from our side.
My pleasure. Nice
Yeah,
catching up.
no, you too. Take care. Thank you for your time,
As
and yeah,
well.
we'll go from there.